Welcome to the Football Historian Podcast.
By all means, enjoy it.
He will go right to the very top.
Dos, tres, cuatro times.
Here we go, Germans.
I will turn these results round.
All right, that's good manners.
There's animosity, but there's no fight.
If you can't beat them, join them.
How do you make me feel sick if I look at you?
No, I want to fight here.
Don't drink, don't sleep with women, don't drive fast cars.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit too!
Hello, welcome to the Football Historian Podcast. I am delighted to be joined by Shem Rock. Thank you very much for coming in. We're going to have a chat about footy before we go on to your fighting and everything, but just to introduce Shem, because people who may watch this may not be that down on the MMA scene, could you just very briefly describe who you are and then we'll go into your career afterwards?
Basically, I'm probably the most knowledgeable football enthusiast on the planet. I'm a professional MMA fighter. For those who don't know what that is, I basically get in a cage in my undies and punch people in the face for money. I don't watch much football. I'm probably good up to 2010. After that, you've lost me.
Well, that's perfect. So it's the history podcast. That's fine. 2010 backwards, that's all we need. So I'm going to start off with something we used to finish with, which is the debate.
The debate.
So the first few questions, we keep a tally off going through. First one, I give you a briefing just before of what it is, which is Gerrard, Lampard or Scholes. I think I know who you're going to say, but if you could put them in order for us as well, please.
Order. Jezza, Lamps, Scholesy.
Why is Gerrard the best?
Come on, lad, because he's a Scouser. I just think what he done for the team, especially sometimes when you're seeing the team he was in wasn't as good as team as them two were in, but he was still pulling out the fucking goals out the bag, winning trophies for the team. Could the others two have done that in the same team as he was in? Obviously, Gerrard also played in a good team as well, but there was times where the team was a bit... and he still was pulling trophies out the bag, especially when you talk about 2005, the final and that. Could they have done what he done that night?
Yeah.
But when I look at it on the flip side, could he have done what Scholes done in Man U? I think so, yeah. Could he have done what Lampard done in Chelsea? I think so, yeah. So that's why for me, you just got to put him up there. And obviously I'm biased, I'll say it. I'm not asked, I'm biased.
Yeah, well, I've obviously from where we record and who I support, a lot of the people that come in are Liverpool fans, but Gerrard is winning by an absolute mile. But maybe we need to get some more Manx and Chelsea fans, but I haven't quite got myself there yet. The next one is Pele or Maradona.
See, my head says Pele, but my heart says Maradona used to sniff lines in that. I think I'd go with Pele, you know. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Pele.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then the next one...
That was hard.
Next one is Messi or Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, man.
Okay.
Free Palestine. Ronaldo.
Messi's winning by quite a way.
I imagine he is.
But Ronaldo for you.
He is,
yeah, but for more than just football reasons.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
If they're the best two players of the last 10, 15 years, this is the most recent question I'll ask you, so don't worry, we'll get past this one.
Okay.
If they're the best two, who's the best behind them?
Behind them two? Oh, that's easy. Emile Heskey.
It's the rule.
Don't tell me you've got Emile Heskey.
It's a rule. He always comes up. There's a rule. If you say him, you get to sit next to him. So you can put him on your chair.
See, I didn't even know the rule, and he's right next to me.
He always comes up.
Heskey.
Yeah, he's my hero as well. He's a dream guest. We'll get him in there.
I reckon you could get him. Heskey, if you're seeing this, get on the pod, lad. Stop being sly. After Ronaldo... Oh, I'm going to go R9. Just straight off the... Yeah, for me, yeah. Yeah,
that's fair enough. Okay, and then another more recent one that someone has asked, but I just want to end this one quickly, and that it's Salah or Hazard.
Is that even a... Whose idea was that
it's
question?
Something on Twitter, and it keeps coming up, and I can't believe it's still a thing. I think the reason why I ask it is that Micah Richards said Hazard as well, which is what made me feel like maybe we need to try and get our two cents in and settle this debate.
I think it's Salah.
Yeah,
I think it's not even a debate.
I'm surprised. I'm waiting for someone to say
the goals, the assists, the team he's in. Like he's fucking many a time fucking won games on his own back, lad. It's not even close.
Yeah, okay, I fully agree. Goalkeepers: Buffon, Casillas, and Neuer. Could you put them in order for us?
See, growing up as a kid, Buffon's a legend, isn't he? So I'm gonna have to go Buffon. I don't want to put Casillas last, but Neuer, Casillas, yeah.
Okay.
It's hard, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
We had the goalkeeper coach for Liverpool in, and he said Neuer, so I always think that's the right answer. But they're pretty much inseparable.
Buffon there just because it's like,
he's classic.
yeah, growing up and that, and the longevity as well.
Yeah, and he wore short sleeves and big gloves. Looks good. Next one I'm slightly interested in is that, so you're from Liverpool, but in your fight, you're fighting out of Ireland, is what they say. So I normally ask club or country, and every scouser always picks club, and it's still going to be similar. But the question I sometimes ask is captain for Liverpool to win the league, or yours would be captain for Ireland to win the World Cup. What would you rather do?
Well, to cut that question off, it's a bit of a mad one because I'm English. I'm a Scouser. Well, I'm English. I'm fucking Scouse. Republic of Liverpool. I lived in Ireland for a good few years and trained out of Ireland. Then when I signed to Oktagon told me I had to pick a flag. And I didn't want to fly the Union Jack, and I didn't want to wear the St. George's Cross. So at first I sent them a Liverpool flag. And they were like, no, you're not allowed that flag. You have to pick another flag. So I was either going to pick that or Nigeria or Barbados, and then I ended up going with Ireland.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I picked Ireland.
But it's still Liverpool.
Yeah,
well,
of course, I'm a Scouser.
I thought so, but like yours was slightly more interesting backstory than just I hate England, which is I think what most people seem to say.
Yeah.
The next one is who?
No, ask me the question. I didn't answer it.
Oh, sorry. So I thought when you said Liverpool, I thought no.
What was the question?
So, well, it's would you rather be captain of Liverpool to win the league or captain of Ireland and win the World Cup?
If you did, if I played for Ireland and won the World Cup, that would be fucking massive if you done that, wouldn't it? 'Cause
yeah,
that's
free Guinness for life.
Yeah,
there,
but I'd pick Liverpool. yeah, no brainer.
Okay,
great. All the way.
Next one is the most overrated player of all time. Is there anyone that comes to mind? What we've had Zlatan Ibrahimovic was one of the most recent ones.
How can someone say Zlatan? That's cheeky, that, innit, lad?
Who else have we had? Vidic has been mentioned. Messi and Pele have been mentioned, and that they're not as good as what people say they are.
I can understand the Pele shout a little bit because, like, some of the games he's played against certain teams and how many goals he scored, but he's still good.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking more like Rodriguez, Oscar, like lesser players. Who would they say? I don't really like to sit here and slag any of them because they're all better than me.
Yeah.
It'd be like them sitting there on a podcast and calling me a shit fighter and overrated.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, you can't even fight. Who swindled the way into a team that just didn't deserve to be there?
So Jimmy Traore in the Istanbul team. He's probably done well to get himself a Champions League medal if you want to go close to home.
Don't really want to slag one of our own, though, do you know what I mean? Fuck it. I go Charlie Adam. I actually like him as well.
Okay, the next one might be a bit easier for you. Who's the most underrated player of all time?
Underrated? He's sitting next to me, man. Come on, Emile. Nah, someone like Peter Crouch or something. I think he didn't really get the respect he deserved. Who else is there who's underrated? Who else? Let me think before I just put him in there. Underrated.
We had Lee Peltier, and one of the last person to sit there, and he said Steve Fidden, who I think is a very underrated player. He's one of them, very quiet, get away with. So I'm not going to say he's like, maybe not saying he was world class, but someone who like you don't talk about.
Yeah,
sport.
someone who doesn't get the
But
yeah.
There.
No, I'm gonna go Crouchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was good, lad. I think
he's
he could
much more than just a big man.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Crouchy. Yeah.
Okay, last two questions on the football debate side of it. Who is the greatest manager of all time?
See, I've got to go from what I know as well. Do you know what I mean? I can't be pulling out all these old school man out the back pocket that I weren't even alive for.
Yep.
Some good ones up there, but it's gonna brush people the wrong way. But Alex Ferguson was good, weren't he, lad? He was, weren't he?
Yeah, I think the numbers certainly back up.
Even like if you just talk about the other side, like the influence he had over everyone, do you know what I mean? Fergie time and all. You don't get that as a manager. Even like just people talking about it, whether it was true or not. I think Klopp's up there as well. Like there's loads of men we could name, but I'm gonna go with Fergie, lad.
Yeah, we look at him. 30 years gap between winning the league from when he arrived. So it was the first time in 30 years when he did it, and then they haven't won it in 15 years since he left.
Yeah,
and he's the last one.
Yeah,
there.
it's a
so
big stat. That
kind of shows he must have been all right.
I do like Mourinho as well, but you can't compare, can you?
Yeah.
I gotta go Fergie.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. And then the last one then is who is the greatest team ever? So not like a 1 to 11, like a team in like a 5-year period, a 1-year period, over a tournament, whatever. Who do you think's the best team?
I'm going to Brazilian national squad back when R9 had the fucking
2002 World Cup. That was
that's proper nostalgia for me. That lad here on there, sitting in primary school, getting the morning off so we could watch them play.
Yeah, we'd wheel the telly in.
Yeah, lad. Yeah, I'll never forget them moments, lad.
Would you ever do that haircut?
Not in a million years, lad. You think I'm chopping this off? Do you know what? Tell a lie. Every time I've got a fight coming up and they're like, you've got to cut weight, your hair's probably an extra 100 gram. I'm like, take it off. I don't want to cut any more weight. Take it off.
The semicircle next time. You can keep that.
How much are you paying me then and I'll do it?
5 equivalents.
Not enough.
All right, great. Well, we're going to talk a bit more about football history before we go into like trying to talk about your fighting and football combined. What's your earliest memory of football?
Oh, earliest memory? Are you talking to a guy who gets punched in the head every day? Earliest memory?
Or maybe like what made you fall in love with football, like a happy memory from your childhood with football?
Probably sitting around with the family in the chips from the chippy, watching players like Robbie Fowler and that. Yeah, when I was a kid, Robbie Fowler was the boy.
Yeah.
Especially being from LA. Yeah.
And you're a Red, as we have mentioned already. But did you go to the match often? Do you go to the match often?
I've seen Liverpool live a handful of times. I lived in Portugal for a bit, so I can remember watching them in Portugal and sitting in the it was Lisbon, sitting in the Lisbon end with me ma, and one of our players got the ball. I'm sure it was like Heskey or someone. It was someone black, and one of the guys sitting behind us went, "Fuck you, hit your monkey," or something like that. And my mum just turned round and swatted this fella, and the guy's like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, yeah, you cheeky cunts.
That's it, in the Portuguese end.
In the Portuguese, like my ma's a proper scout, so she's not asked.
Okay, well, we're good on it for that. Yeah. Okay, yeah. The football was good though as well.
Lad, you know what? I don't remember. I just remember that.
Yeah,
I was a proper kid.
Who was your first footballing hero when you were growing up?
I think it probably was Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Emile Heskey. At that time, one of them three.
Yeah, like around.
Don't get me wrong, I can remember kicking the ball and shouting Gerrard, but who never. But I think maybe, especially Fowler being from Toxteth and that.
Yeah.
I think it was Fowler, I'd say.
The Toxteth Terror, he was known as. Would you like that nickname yourself? Or?
It's not a bad nickname, is it? I haven't got a nickname, do you know
I
that?
I never say, yeah. There's Paddy the Baddy.
Yeah, I haven't got one. No one's ever given me one, so...
The Rock? No.
You can't rob someone else's, can you?
Yeah, the Toxteth Terror.
You can't just take someone else's. It's cheeky, lad, isn't it?
We'll start working on something then, yeah. Emile Heskey, put that in there,
yeah. Yeah. No one else would get it when I'm fighting in Czech Republic and that. They'd be like, why is it?
I think he'd come out with you as well. That'd be good, though, wouldn't it? Hold your belts when you got them sorted. What do you think the greatest era of football is?
I feel like when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what most people seem to say, I think, no matter what it is.
Is football now better than it's ever been? But the game's also changed as well.
Exactly. The players are better, but is it better to watch?
Do you know what it is, lad? I'm just not into this rolling around on the floor stuff. I think that's what made me start to really hate it, lad.
Yeah.
I'm fucking out here getting punched in the face for not even a fraction of what they're getting, and they're getting kicked in the shin and going, sub me off.
Yeah.
Just gets me angry, bro. Where back in the day, old school players, you were told not to go down. Remember stories of Gerrard saying, like, to his teammates, what are you going down for? Yeah. You got to stay on your feet in this club. That's how football should still be, lad. But it is what it is. So yeah, I'd probably go like when I was a kid, that era.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And then the next couple is a bit more difficult for you. I want the top 5 Liverpool players of all time. If you can do that for us first. If you can go 5-1 to build with a drama, that's good. But whatever, however you can do it.
Top 5. I'm going to be proper biased here as well, lad.
That's fine.
I don't want to sit here and start saying Dalglish and all these type of guys, lad, even though they're up there.
What I would say is to say that before you do the top 5, because people get very upset when you don't pick them.
When
but if you say people
I've
seen live, you might want to say first.
Yeah, I can only go off what I've seen, and I'm not gonna start picking, man. I've just watched black and white clips of, lad. It's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I've watched 10 seasons of Dalglish, lad. It's not happening, is it?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go off what I've seen live and what I can, point my finger at. Even that's hard. I might have to start backwards. I might just have to start number 1.
Don't worry, that's all good.
I'm gonna go Gerrard, Suarez, Salah, I can't leave Robbie Fowler out because I love him that much. And I'm going to go Van Dijk.
If Trent Alexander-Arnold goes to Real Madrid this summer on a free transfer, what do you think that would do to his legacy as a Scouser and as a Liverpool?
Nothing. It's one of them. It's a short window, and I can kind of only compare it to fighting. It's a short window. You've got to be selfish. You're the one stepping out there. You're the one playing the games. If you're not happy, you don't want to end your career and go, what if? You want to say, done it, tried it, it weren't for me, I failed, or done it, tried it, succeeded, I had the best career, I'm happy. And I'm sure that's how some of the other legends like Gerrard now have retired and been like, made up. I'm glad I made the choices I made. And if that's his what if, going to Real Madrid, then maybe he has to go and explore that, lad. As a fan of Liverpool, of course we don't ever want him to leave, lad. We want him to stay here forever.
Yeah.
But looking at it from a non-biased point of view, if he went there, I'd understand. It'd be different if we were talking he went to Chelsea and Man U, and then it'd be a bit like, fucking hell, lad, what are you doing there, bro?
Yeah.
But it's a young boy's dreams, lad. You can't knock him for chasing his dreams, innit? And not many people get to the height of the highest level of football to be able to do it. So if that's where he wants to go, good on him.
Okay, that's right. That's a good output on it. Last couple of questions on the football side. Next one is your top 5 players of all time who haven't played for Liverpool.
All time, but they've never played for Liverpool. So Messi and Ronaldo got to be in there, haven't they?
Yep.
So there's 2 slots gone already, and then I'll put them in order. For me, I've got to put R9 in there. I don't just want to say Pelé and Maradona, do you know what I mean?
Don't say them, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to, lad, because I didn't really watch them like that, do you know what I mean?
It's your top 5.
Yeah. Lad, I would love to put someone like Ronaldinho even there just because I love to watch him play, but he weren't the best. You can't compare him to the Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's come up before in the top 5 of that, but he's so I think with him he's just pure enjoyment.
I think defenders get overlooked as well. It's a bit sly. Defenders don't really get in there, do they?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Ronaldinho, and then I'm gonna go number 5. Emile Heskey. No, go on. We'll put Henry in there.
Yeah,
we'll let him have it. We'll put Henry in there.
That's a good one. Right. Okay. So now that's the very deliberate football stuff. I'm going to start trying to meld into your fighting life as well, but still with some football questions.
So,
you're known for being in the cage in your fighting. What do you think the similarities are between footballers and fighters? Is there anything like in your position? Have you spoke to footballers and that? And do you see, like, from what you said there about Trent Alexander-Arnold? Not many football fans, I think, would agree with you, but the footballers who I've had there have said similar to you in that the mindset thing and that, you know, what you want out of it.
I can understand the mindset of an athlete,
being
an athlete. It's a very short window, isn't it? I think even though I get in the cage by myself, MMA is still a very team sport, because if I've got no coaches and no training partners, no physios, no weightlifting coaches, then I've got no career. So in my MMA gym, we really are a family, and I can imagine to have a good, successful football team, there needs to be a good chemistry also. You can't have one guy bringing the team down. Everyone needs to get on and be like a family. I can imagine like the elite best teams are similar to that, and I think in MMA, the top teams are similar to that. You can't have one guy who comes in and doesn't fit the team, even if he's the best in the room.
Yep.
You go, nah, he doesn't fit the chemistry. Sell him. Obviously, you can't sell MMA fighters. It'd be good though if you could. So I think maybe we're similar in that aspect, even though they're an 11 on the pitch and we're 1 in the cage by ourselves. It's still very much a team game. I think injuries, I'd say footballers probably get more. I think it's very taxing on the body. Even though we're taking punches to the head, we're getting more brain trauma.
Yeah. Unless
you're a big lofty centre back, maybe. But I think injuries, like especially like you're talking hamstring, a lot of sprinting and changing the direction. I think we're similar in injuries. What else would I say we're similar with? Definitely not toughness. Fucking got nothing on us on that. Not in this modern game. Maybe the old school fellas. Maybe Vinnie Jones or something. It's quite hard. Similarities. What else? Definitely not money. Hey, we're nowhere near them on that. Yeah, I'd say the ones I've named. Yeah.
That's good stuff. And then I'll ask you first about it in football and how it could be in fighting, but there's VARs in football now, and it's like it slows the game down, but
we're getting that in fighting now, though.
Well, that's us. Arguably, it gets the right decision in football. That coming into fighting as well, will that help? And could it? There's a lot of old school people maybe in football who prefer, like the FA Cup now. They still don't have VAR, and people love it because it's not there anymore. Yeah, so do you think that could happen in fighting, where as much as it's welcomed, it can also be a hindrance?
Well, depending on the commission and what state you're in America and what show you're in different parts of the world, there's different rule sets in MMA. So if you kick me in the groin in a fight and I go, oh, it was a groin shot, the referee can go out the cage and look at the footage and go, it hit him on the stomach. No, get up, fight on. Where maybe in another state, they don't have that availability of being able to look at the footage. So there's pros and cons to both, like you say, slowing down the action and people faking stuff to get a little breather. But I think in our sport, it's a little bit different to football. I think they should have the footage available to them. I think the judges should also have the footage available to them in between the rounds. I hate this, the judges sitting cage side. I think the judges should be in a separate room by themselves, not influenced by the crowd, not influenced by the corner man going, oh, big shot landed.
Right, yeah.
But it is what it is. I think just like football, there's stuff that can be improved and there's stuff that have been changed that should have never been changed. And I think the same in MMA, except our sport is a lot younger. Our sport's still brand new. It's only been on the TV for how many years? Like, it used to be banned in a lot of countries, and now it's only starting to be recognised as a sport. So I think where football's had a lot of growth, we've still got a lot of growth to go. But let's see what the changes are going to be in the future.
Yeah. And then again, I don't know a lot about fighting. I've tried my best to do my research on it, but in football, there's the showman, there's the number 10 who plays the ball through, there's the big lofty centre-backs, as you said, the goal scorers. What different type of fighters are there? What's your type of fighting, and what's the hardest type of fighting for you to come up against?
Yeah, there's many a different style. I think you've got your purists who have kind of got that one skill set that they're really good at, whether it's boxing, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling. And then you've got kind of the new school guys who are good at everything and very efficient, and it's more like, I'm good at MMA. Submission guys, you've got guys who don't want to go to the ground, strikers. So there's a whole versatile of things. But I think if you were to look at my career from where I'm at now, all of my wins are by submission. So I think people would probably refer to me as a grappler. What style would give me the biggest trouble? Well, the only loss I ever got was by a guy with good boxing, so maybe I'd say good boxing. But yeah. I personally, if you were to ask me, I think I'm an all-rounded MMA fighter. I think I'm good at everything. I think I just go for the path of least resistance. And the guys who I've come against just don't have great jiu-jitsu, so I take them down and submit them. And one day I'm going to fight a guy with world-class jiu-jitsu, and I'll probably knock him out, and I'll go, see, I told you. Yeah. So I think it just depends on the day for me, personally.
Yeah, and then, as you said before, in fighting compared to football, there's more injuries in football. That's because they're playing twice a week, and there's obviously a lot more going on. Why can't fighters fight more often? It's like, I don't fully get it. And I know, obviously, why, because you get punched in the head, and that's why. But so in football, you can say who the best football team is because they all play each other twice, home and away. I'm not saying that you can fight every fighter home and away twice in a year, but why aren't there more fights, and why is it so hard for the best two fighters to fight each other? Or does that happen? Because, again, I'm coming at more from a boxing angle in that. Yeah. I don't know anything, but Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have been big names since I was in uni, and I've left, and they still haven't fought each other. So, like, why doesn't it happen as much?
I think this is the beauty of the UFC compared to maybe some of the highest level of boxing. Is in the UFC, they make the best fight the best. So you do see the best fight each other. The only problem sometimes is some of the best are in different weight classes, and the weight classes are so far apart. Where boxing, there's a lot of weight classes where they can meet the middle ground and fight each other a similar-ish weight. Like, the weight class above me is 7 kilos. Right. I couldn't go up 7 kilos. That's too much. But in boxing, there'd probably be a weight class 2 kilos up. And I could go, oh, I can do that. And then that guy could come down to, and I could come up to, and we could have a super fight. But to jump up 7, it's a big ask. You're fighting big, burly men who are just going to sit on you all night, and I'm not into that. But to answer the question, what was the question?
So why can't you fight more often? Like, is it your decision or is it out of your hands?
If you get knocked out in your fight, or if you get submitted unconscious, you're going to get banned by the commission that you can't fight for a certain amount of time to let your brain heal. Not only that, the other thing that people don't take into consideration, the preparation for the fight probably takes you 8 to 12 weeks. So 4 fights in a year is a lot because you're taking 8 weeks to prepare for someone. Personally, I like to do 10 to 12. So if you do that, you do the math, lad, 12 weeks, 4 times. Before you know it, you're like, oh, my body's broke up. I have non-stop. As soon as the fight's done, you need to recover from the weight cut, rest your injuries, heal from the brain trauma, and then you're jumping straight back into a camp a week later to do another 12 weeks because you got to want to get 4 in the year. So you'd have to do like 6-week camps, not be fully prepared, not be as fit, then still take the recovery time. What happens if you broke your leg in the fight? What happens if you got knocked out cold and you get a 3-month suspension? There's so many different factors that come into it. But I think there is crazy people out there who will be like, I would fight every weekend.
Yeah. It's like...
I wouldn't.
And then wrestling is not like fighting on I don't want to, I'm not sure if it would offend you or whatever, but saying wrestlers are in there. Me, but like, so they do a Royal Rumble, and I saw someone saying,
you mean fake wrestling?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Offended me.
Yes, I'm not saying you are, but they do a Royal Rumble, and I saw someone saying darts. Why don't they take off the Royal Rumble in darts where the winner stays on, keep going?
Are we talking about that?
Different, but then go back to MMA. Someone said, like, imagine if Luke Littler wins and then out of nowhere another darts player comes on, exactly. Someone else comes on and then they just keep going. I know that couldn't happen, but I think I heard you say, like, if you submitted someone,
I'd be all for it.
They can just go straight back into, like, say, could there be a night?
I'd just stay in the ring until I lost.
Yeah.
How many man can I do in one night? Wouldn't that be sick?
I think that'd be good to watch.
Quality. It'd be quality.
And you have no idea who's coming up. And
as long as he's not no heavyweight or and Francis Ngannou's walking down to the cage, I'm off. Do you know what? One of the things that really, really got me interested in MMA when I was young was the Japanese tournament styles, where they do like an 8-man bracket and we're all fighting in one night till the last guy standing and he's the winner. And I used to be like, man, he's the real baddest man. None of this like, oh, you know, I win one fight, go away, plan for this guy, game plan. Because you don't know who you're coming up against. You just got to beat him on the night. The best man's going to walk out. And I always say, like, I'd love to go into a tournament style where, even like a 16-man tournament, where we're all fighting until there's one guy left. You get injured in your first fight, but you win. Unlucky then, mate. The loser steps up and goes into and it's just like that. The best guy on the night wins the whole tournament. I think if the UFC done that, so many people would watch that, lad. But I don't know if they could get the fighters on board with it. Yeah.
And then the MMA fighting you've done, obviously you've been in like stadiums around the world and all that. I think I've already heard you say that Anfield would be like the dream to fight there. How realistic is that? And then the crowds in UFC and MMA are massive, but not like football stadiums massive.
No, I disagree.
Or maybe more consistently than if I'm saying, so like you can see Anfield sold out every other week for that. How big can it get in terms of a stadium and more regularly, or would you say it's already up there with it?
I fight right now for a promotion called Oktagon.
Yep.
And not too long ago, they done a show in Germany in a football stadium, 60,000 seats. And in like the first 2 weeks, they sold 40,000 tickets before they announced a single fight. Like in Europe, that's kind of unheard of. I think the UFC could do that if they wanted to, but they don't want to. The UFC are happy with their module, selling pay-per-view buys, doing it in an indoor arena where sound quality is not affected. You don't have to worry about the weather if it rains or snows, because they're doing an event every single weekend. And if it rains or snows or something goes wrong with the sound, then it's going to look bad for them. So I think they're happy with, they've got everything down to a T. Let's keep it in the indoor arenas, maximum 20,000 seats, 18,000 seats. And when you're there as a fan and you're in there, it's rocking. It feels like a million people, lad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand, but I do think every now and then they need to just go away from the module and just bring a big stadium, one in Australia, one in England, one in America, put all big names on the card. And originally, I did used to think selling out Anfield Stadium was a myth. I used to think like, yeah, it's never going to happen. But seeing like the fucking emergence of Paddy and Darren and Molly, because them guys weren't there when I was younger watching it, seeing the resurgence of them and what they've done for the sport makes me go, what? When Taylor Swift comes here and sells out shows.
Yeah.
So why can't us Scousers?
Yeah.
Why can't
it
we?
It would definitely sell out, wouldn't it?
People
it
are
must
coming
just
to
be
watch
on
Trent every weekend. Why wouldn't they come to watch Paddy and Molly and me, and we just fill it full of Scousers? I think it's very, very achievable. But the problem is, the only promotion that would make it happen would be the UFC, because they've got the commodity of all the biggest fighters now, haven't they? So it'd be hard to convince them to make it happen. I think Paddy would have to be that big of a star that he goes, I'm not fighting. Unless it's Anfield, I'm not fighting. And then they go on, let's just give him what he wants. But that is my dream. My dream in this sport, first of all, is to fight in Liverpool. I've never fought in Liverpool. Never. So first of all, I want to fight in Liverpool. But my next one would be to fight in Anfield Stadium. That'd just be a massive bucket list.
It's like, as you say, it feels achievable. You don't want it to be like, as you said with the boxing before, where they wait too long and it goes. Like, surely there's a peak time where you could get everyone, but as I say, I'm sure it's harder. It's easier said than done.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of
there'd
politics.
definitely be people who would buy the tickets, so surely that's could be the only worry as to why they wouldn't do it.
I don't think it's about ticket sales. I think there's more other stuff behind the scenes, isn't there?
Yeah. And then you were saying before about teams in MMA and in fighting. I was going to ask you about that as well. Like, maybe you pretty much already answered it, but like, how important are the coaches behind you? And when you see in football, like in a corner routine, it's you go back front post, you go back post, we'll move in. I've just spoke to Liverpool's former throwing coach, and that's how like specific it can get in football. So how many coaches are there to get you to where you are on a fight day?
I've had the luxury of being to travel around the world a bit. I started in Asia, then I went to Ireland, and now I'm back home. So I've got to see different styles from different gyms. And I think everything comes down to the coaching. You can't do nothing without the coaches. You can't train yourself. It's not a kung fu movie. You can't kick trees in the park. You can't go rock climbing and think you're going to do crouching tiger, hidden dragon. It don't work. There's people who have tried it. It never works. There's no depth touch. There's no one move that'll kill you. You need to be in the gym consistently with high-level coaches to get to the highest level, I think. And number of coaches, sometimes too many cooks spoil the broth, and then sometimes the other way, not enough coaches. You need to be able to wrestle, you need to be able to box, you need to be able to also be good at MMA, good at the wall wrestling, good at kicking. It's so many things that come into it, and then you got to think what works for you, different body types, different styles, what you take to easier. So it's hard. Like, I'm fortunate to have kind of fundamentals built in individual disciplines. When I was in Asia, I'd done jiu-jitsu by itself. I'd done wrestling by itself. I'd done striking by itself. And I think now coming back to Liverpool and being in an MMA gym, training with Paul Rimmer and Ellis and Vent and Paddy and Molly and the rest of them, that I filled the holes in my game and made it all rounded to an MMA fighter. So that's perfect for me. But maybe another guy, maybe he needs to work on his fundamental of boxing or jiu-jitsu or wrestling. He goes out there and he looks great, but every time he gets taken down, he gets submitted. Then maybe he needs to go to a pure jiu-jitsu class. So it's different for different. Yeah, it's different for different people, lad. But I think the future of the sport is training MMA.
So just as a whole, and then making everything better. Rivalries. You had quite a famous one with a police officer. You can go into that as well for us. But in fighting, the rivalries are quite short-lived. So, like, we're recording this on the eve of the Merseyside derby, the last one at Goodison Park. Liverpool and Everton, the game will be massive, but no matter what happens, unless they get relegated to Everton, they're going to play each other twice a year. Liverpool play United twice a season.
It'd still be a massive rivalry.
Well, of course, but
how
it could, in fighting, once you've beaten someone like you did, you've beaten them, they're out the way. How important is a rivalry? Because, like you say, like some of them, like they'll fight again, and then they both won. The fight for the third time, the trilogy fight, all that. And like, could it be built upon like making more and more rivalries? And obviously that's why you call people out, try and make it a bit, not you specifically, but why fighters call each other out. And like, is there a way that you could keep a rivalry going for years and years, or is the only way that would ever happen is if you just kept drawing?
I think they almost need to be real. You can't fabricate rivalries. The fans can see through it, I think, sometimes. Like, perfect example is John Jones, Daniel Cormier for me. John Jones and Daniel Cormier had two fights, but they hated each other. At the weigh-ins, they fought, grabbed each other by the neck. It was real. The fans got behind it. And John Jones won both times, so the rivalry's over. It's not like football where if Liverpool win 10 games against Everton, doesn't mean the rivalry's over. If Everton win the 11th, on that day, they're better, aren't they? You know, it's back. But fighting, it kind of ends, doesn't it? And some guys go on to hate each other forever. Some guys squash it. I'm one of them personally, lad. It's just business. Like, it's happy punching a police officer in the face. It was great. I hate the police. I'm glad. But when I'm in there, it's no emotion. It's just business. I'm here to do my job. But we sell it for the fans as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think rivalries is good for both fighters because it puts you on a new level of motivation. You can't I cannot lose to a police officer, lad. There's no way I am losing. I was training my ass off for that guy, and I bet you he was doing the same for me, going, lad, I can't lose to this scumbag. So I guarantee you it took us both to a new level and brought a load of eyes. So it's great for the sport, it's great for the fighters, but it's short-lived, unlike football. Rivalries are forever in football, aren't they, lad?
Yeah, exactly. So your way into fighting is a bit of a mad story. I'm sure you've told it about a billion times. Feel free to just lie and say different bits if you're bored of saying it. But for someone who's unaware, you don't have to do the full massive story. But how did you become a fighter?
So basically, you can tell I'm from a council estate in Emerson. Grew up, council estate, bit rough, got up to no good. School weren't really for me. Didn't really do too well. Stopped going when I was about 12. Was a little bastard. Moved all around the country, getting kicked out of all different schools. Before you know it, I'm in with the wrong crowd, getting up to no good. Obviously, incidents with the police all the time, getting arrested, getting in trouble. But eventually, that led me to being accused for a crime that I didn't commit. Me cousin, he done 5 years in jail. He pled guilty. It was his thing. But I also was wanted for the same crime. They tarnished me with the same brush. Rather than get remanded and go to jail, I ran because he got remanded. I knew I was going to get remanded because he got remanded. So I ran and went to Asia. While I was in Asia, that's how I found martial arts, lad. Bit of a random one. I had no aspiration of being a professional fighter. I had no aspiration of competing. I started with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got really good really quick. I was super addicted to it. It was just something I needed and never knew I needed. The discipline, the coach keeping me in line. He was almost like a father figure to me. And he forced me to compete. And when I competed, lad, I loved it. And it went from there. And I was just winning every single competition in Southeast Asia. This is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I went to the World Championships and represented Great Britain while on the run, which is mad. And then I come back after that and he said, look, Jiu-Jitsu's not paying the bills, but there's an opportunity to go on this TV show and you'll get paid. Do you want to do it? So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. It was an MMA TV show. I went on the TV show. You'd have to fight MMA like every month in like a tournament. And in the end, you fight for the title. And I ended up winning all the fights, winning the title. And then after this, I was like, should I just go pro and just keep doing this? Turn pro, become a professional fighter. Was traveling all around Asia, UAE, competing. I got to fight in some crazy stadiums. Obviously, every single arena I went to, I was the bad guy. I was booed, fighting the local hometown favourite. And then before you know it, I ended up moving to Ireland. That's where I met all my other coaches in Ireland, Dublin Combat Academy, shout out Collie and Craig. And then I went to do a fight in Belfast, which is technically Great Britain, innit? And that's when I got arrested after my fight. It took me first ever loss defending me title. Took me first ever loss, and then got arrested the next day. Flew to jail. I was on remand for 6 months. Beat the case and got a not guilty, rightfully so. And then I come out, and that's when I'm back in Liverpool and able to train in my own city. And I went to Next Gen, and now I train with Paddy and Molly and all the lads there and the coaches at Next Gen. And my career's just gone from height to height to height, and now I'm in Oktagon, and I'm probably the biggest fighter in the UK outside of the UFC. I think I am.
Yeah, and that's boss.
Crazy story, but that's the condensed version.
Yeah, well, I said this. You spoke about this so many times. So anyone who's aware of you's heard that story. Yeah. Anyone who's not aware of you, go and search it because it's worth the full thing. Yeah. But so I'm sure you've already thought and said this as well. But do you reckon that's the best thing that's ever happened to you in that getting accused of a crime that you didn't do? Because there was no fighting, was there? Like there wasn't a sign of this happening. No way. If that hadn't have happened. So
I think I had too much ego as well. I wasn't willing to just step in the gym here. The lifestyle I was living wouldn't have allowed me to do that. It took me then going away from everyone I knew and being by myself and alone to then out of boredom wanting to go and explore other things, maybe outside of my comfort zone. And I believe everything happens for a reason. And I think I went through what I went through to get me where I am now. So like you pray for strength. God's not going to make you strong. He's going to put you through a tough path to make you strong. And I think that's what I went through. And I'm glad every single thing happened the way it did. I'm glad that the people that I met, the coaches I got to train with, the training partners, people from different walks of life, people on the mat that I'd never, I was the type of kid who would be like proper scally. I'm on the mat with a politician's daughter and I'm thinking, she doesn't want to know me. And then they're speaking to me and asking me questions and training with me. And I'm like, wow, this is different. So I needed that to grow up a little bit. And now I realised people just look at you for who you are and what your person is, not the background you come from or where you're from or what religion you are. Obviously, some people do, but they're the closed-minded people, aren't they?
No, yeah, the wrong people do, yeah. So what have you learned that someone who doesn't have any interest in fighting could use into making their life better?
In the realm of
just like how you turned your life around, and what are the maybe like a couple of key lessons or whatever. Obviously, yours is also being good at fighting has helped open the doors, but there must have been other lessons that you learned which also made it possible for you.
I don't think there's such thing as being good at fighting. Okay. I think it's being consistent. If you want to be good, if you want to be great, you can be great. Anyone can be great at fighting. It's not something you have to be born with. It's not something that, it's only for the set few. Anyone can do it. It's about who shows up, who stays consistently, who works hard, who pays attention, who does the homework. But that being said, combat sports is not for fighters. Combat sports is for everyone. I genuinely do believe in this day and age, I preach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think everyone should try it. I think them days where you're anxious, you've got anxiety, or you're stressed, or you've got some trouble in your life. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a beautiful sport because you can do it without taking any damage. There's no punches, there's no kicks, it's all grappling. So you can do it at 100% without getting hurt. It's about, Jiu-Jitsu is created for the smaller person to beat the bigger person. It's all based on leverage and technique. So you don't need to be physically strong. You don't need to be fit. You just need to go there and learn the stuff. And if you learn, you'll be good at it. And that's it. Simple as that. Doesn't matter who you are. You meet the craziest people in Jiu-Jitsu that if you look at him, you go, he's not an athlete, but he'll choke the shit out of you. And then you meet the big hench guy and you think, oh, he's a killer, him. And then you train with him and you go, oh, he's the worst here. It's not about how athletic you are or how good you look. It's about the time you put in on the mat. And I think people get scared of going down to the local gym because they think, oh, it's going to be full of fighters. That's the smallest percentile of the gym. Everyone else are just normal working people. Doctors, taxi drivers, people on the dole, your Uncle Bob, mums, granddads. Like my friend started jiu-jitsu when he was 55. But he would kill any of the average man on the street. But you wouldn't think that a 55-year-old would walk into a combat gym. But he says it himself. when he walked in there, to him, it was like a community centre or a youth club. Like, everyone was just so nice to him, and he was like, I thought I was going to come here, it'd be like Fight Club. But it's not that type of vibe. It's like, you go in there to real family environment, and I think in this day and age, you look at, like, when we were growing up as kids, there was youth centres everywhere, there was youth clubs. I think like the kids of today don't really have that as much. And I think the gym is now that for the kids. I think rather than hanging around on the streets, this is the place where you need to be sending your kids. If you've also got any troubles in your life, I think it's a good place for you to go as well. It'll definitely make you a better person. It changed my life. Yeah. And that's why I preach it so much.
Yeah, well, that boss listen to as well. And although you said you don't have to be good, you must be all right to go where you are. So what was the earliest moment where you realised, hang on, this isn't just like something that's sort of my head out, sort of my your physique or whatever. This is something that I can excel at and make a career out of. What was like the earliest moment where you thought that was possible?
I remember walking in the gym and getting choked out by women, by kids, by small Asian men. I'm thinking like, what? I've had loads of fights on the street and that. Delusional. Going back to the gym the next day thinking I'm going to batter that guy who battered me the day before and getting schooled again.
Yeah.
That was the first instant that made me wanted to really learn this. The instance that made me realise I could actually do this as a sport, as a job. Probably my first competition. My coach was just making me drill the same armbar setup over and over and over, non-stop. And I went to the competition and submitted everyone with that same armbar. 8 people, 8 armbars, 8 finishes, quick. And I was like, wow, I'm actually all right at this. I can remember coming back to the gym, rolling with some of the higher belts and then passing the guards, which as a white belt is a hard thing to do. And then I think that's when I started to be like, no, I think maybe this is what I want to do. Everyone, like, from my kind of generation growing up wanted to be a footy player and play for Liverpool. That was the dream, weren't it, lad? I think now with some of the role models you've got in your Paddy the Baddies, your Molly McCann, the boxers even who were doing all well, Darren Till, me, I think now you can kind of look to another avenue and say, well, combat sports is also a route for anyone. I think the northwest of England right now is a real hotbed for combat sports. Liverpool, Manchester, and I think in the years to come, the talent we're going to produce is going to be crazy. It'll almost be like the Dagestan of England, where everyone is saying, man, these guys are different, because we just got that real grit and determination that maybe your Southerners don't really have. Sorry, lads.
Well, we had Ian Byrne, the MP, who's also similar, and he said, like, I said to him, again, I don't know much about politics either, so I was trying to talk about footy and then see where the conversation goes, but say for him to see someone from the city who goes on to excel in what he's done in politics, it makes you feel like if I wanted to, I could do that. With you with fighting as well, obviously you've got that, and you say you speak about Trent or whatever, and the football side of it. It's about having someone who's done it before you, or being that person that makes everyone else to follow.
Sometimes you have to be the guy to pave the way, and it can be in anything. It can be in dance, art, anything, whatever your avenue is. If there's no one there before you, doesn't mean it's not achievable.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to kick the doors down and be like, no, I'm going to be the guy. And I think if you're the first guy, you're such a role model for everyone else who comes behind you, and you don't realise it sometimes that other people are watching you, and like, people are looking up to you. But if you're that first guy, man, it's a real special thing, I think.
Yeah, and we had Howard Galen as well, who was the black player to play for Liverpool, and obviously from Toxteth as well. And
in my area, lad, he's a big legend.
And he wasn't just playing for him; he was playing for his whole community and also the city, and also the football club. He
couldn't go out there and have a bad performance, and then people say, "See, there shouldn't be a black guy on the team." He goes out there and has a worldie, and they go, "We need to sign more black players." Yeah. And that's how it should be.
And then even like we've got comedians in, they've done the same to how big the city of Liverpool is. But obviously you've met, maybe if we say the first person in Paddy, and that maybe he's the first person who got the fighting into the more popular culture within the city. What's he like? What's Meatball Molly like? And how important do you think they are for the sport?
I think Paddy's one of the first, but there was some before Paddy. I think Paddy's just took it to a whole new level that no one's ever took it to. Like, no one out of this city in the UFC has ever been as big and popular as Paddy is. I think Darren come very close fighting for the title.
Yeah.
He was a big star, still is a big star. But I think Paddy's just kind of transcended to a new level because now the UFC is bigger than it's ever been. MMA is bigger than it's ever been. Guys like Conor and Khabib blew it up. So imagine the next generation, lad.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What are they like?
What are they like
Molly
with
and all
people?
that, and Darren, whatever. How are they all?
How I'd describe them is scouse. Simple as that. Your next door neighbour, that's Paddy, do you know what I mean? That's Molly. Like, they haven't changed. Fame ain't changed them. Money ain't changed them. I'm sure if you asked them, are they famous? They'd probably say, nah, I'm not famous. They are just your normal everyday scouser. You just that you can relate to them so much. If you're from the city of Liverpool, you know what I'm talking about. You're never going to see these going, no, living down south or learning how to change their accent or moving to America. I don't think so.
Yeah. And how important is that then for you? Because like, if you'd have gone in, obviously you're in the gym with them, you'd gone in, they were big time, would that have upset you? Would that have put you off them or put you off fighting? Or does it not matter? It's just however each person takes their path. Because as you said before about Trent, you must be happy that Paddy and Molly are fighting in the city and they're not fighting in America, whatever. That's where their camps are. So, like, how important is it that they're still here as well as being good people?
I knew them before I come back home. Obviously, speaking through social media, I knew them for a good few years. So I already knew them a little bit in the character and they were good people. But then I also have no expectations on other people's characters. Like, everyone's their own person. Everyone's going to be who they're going to be. But then obviously coming and training with them, it just made everything even better, lad. Like, you're around the people who you kind of looked up to and watched. Like, I was watching them fight before I ever fought. So it was a great thing to then be around them and learn from them and spar them and follow the path that they're following and achieve the greatness they're achieving. And I think almost to flip it a little bit, like, we're from different parts of the city, so we also hold a little bit of different parts for the next generation. Like, there was no one I could look to who's mixed race and go like, oh, that guy didn't exist. So sometimes I feel like I could maybe be that guy for the kid coming out of LA with two mixed race parents who doesn't really look at Paddy and go, oh, that's my life. I think I grew up like him, who the dad maybe weren't around. Or so I think, like, I've got my avenue, Molly's got her avenue, Paddy's got her avenue, but then we're still all Scousers and we're all together.
Yeah.
But that's what Liverpool's about, lad, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then stereotypes, does that happen to you? Obviously, you said about your background, you're from a council estate, and you've said you've had a mad life in terms of being on the run from the police, having prison time. Do you feel like you have to beat down a few walls to get the same chances that other people get?
Definitely.
And how does that make you feel?
Like I said before, like, everything happens for a reason. I believe that coming up, them 10 years away from home and on the run, I had like a really tough path and had to knock down a lot of doors and knock on doors and get told no. But I think in them moments, that just motivated me more. If I would have got everything I wanted when I wanted it, maybe I would just be not training as hard, laxy-daisy, fight here, fight there, oh, I lost, or I don't care, oh, I'm famous anyway, I'm making... I didn't get into it for that, so getting told no, it just put fuel to the fire and motivated me and made me want to be like, okay, watch, I'll show these cunts. And for the stereotype thing, I still get it every day, bro. I'm fighting in a different part of Europe. I'm fighting in Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and people tarnish me with a brush like they know me, do you know what I mean? And be like, oh, he's a scumbag, he's this, he's that. I'm a bit of the heel as well. I'm always fighting away, fighting the home crowd guy. But the real ones know. Scousers know. Scousers can relate. Maybe some of these, they don't get it. So
yeah.
I don't take nothing too much to heart, lad. It's just me versus me, innit?
Yeah. And you said how big a team is in fighting. What's the team outside the team, and who do you fight for? Is it just for you, or who else are you fighting for when you go out there? I
think firstly, you'd have to fight for you. You'd have to be in there, selfish, zoned in. You versus him. No one else can matter at that moment. But then, come out of the cage, I am fighting for other people as well. I'm fighting for my family to better their lives, the next generation, my children. the people who have invested so much time into me, my former coaches, my coaches now, my teammates, my training partners. I think one day, obviously, I'm going to have a family of my own, and I want them to be able to look at the career and go, wow, that was my dad. So even though they're not here yet, I'm still fighting for that as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think when I'm locked in there, everything goes out the window, and it's just me. I've got to be selfish. You have to be.
Obviously, you've had an inspiring life so far. What advice would you give to someone who maybe is at rock bottom? And obviously, you weren't necessarily at rock bottom. You said you were having a bit of a holiday in Thailand with the start as
I've
well.
been rock bottom, no,
but
you've all
yeah,
been
of course.
rock bottom.
So how would you advise someone to turn their life around? Obviously, it doesn't have to be go to the gym and start fighting, but what is it that helped you get from there to sitting in my garage chatting to me about fighting?
Mum, I've made it. Do you know what? I think find out what you really like to enjoy to do. It can be anything. In this day and age, anything can be monetized. There's people playing computer games and making millions of pounds for it. There's people eating roast potatoes on TikTok and making careers of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, anything can be monetized. The worst thing you can do is procrastinate and waste time. Like they say, the devil makes work for idle hands. So don't just sit around. Don't hang around the streets. Don't be around the wrong crowd. Really be aware of who you keep in your company. If you be around them people who are just on the road, grafting or doing nothing with their life, you will end up following the same path as them. It's inevitable. You can't stop it. I'd say another big one, like, it's so common now to be smoking vapes and smoking weed, and it's all a waste of time, lad. It's all not good for you. It's all unhealthy. Cut it all out. The best thing you can do is have a healthy mind, a healthy body, and find what you enjoy doing in this life and go and put your life into that. Whether it's dance, whether it's football, whether it's darts, whether it's bacon, whatever it is, go and do that every single day. You're not going to make no money. You are going to struggle. It is going to be hard. But at some point, the tables are going to turn where you go, oh, I'm getting sponsors here. Oh, people are offering me paid jobs here. And you will turn that lifestyle that you enjoy doing into a career. But it's all got to start with you. You can't just be messing about and not taking it serious. Just chase your passion, chase your dream, whatever you enjoy doing. Go and do that 6 days a week, 5 days a week. Think about it, dream about it, be obsessed. That's what I'd advise, because I'm obsessed with what I do.
Yeah, that's possible. Okay, then, last couple of questions. In 30 years' time, what you want Shem Rock's legacy to be?
Be 61 then, won't I? Fucking hell, 61-year-old Shem. I better not be grey. I not be grey. I better not be bald. Fucking hell.
Not wrong with going grey.
Sorry, lad. Heavy.
I'm not bald, it's better than that.
My legacy. Do you know what? I just want to be remembered, lad, as a good person who done good things for his community and his people around him. I don't really care what outsiders say about me. We do what we have to do to sell our fights and to promote ourselves, but the real ones know. I want to be known as a guy who cared about his community, cared about his people and his close ones. Also want to be known as a guy who just put it all on the line and went out there and chased his dreams, whether I achieved them or not. I went out there and I went for the opportunities that I think I deserved, and I put me all to it. If I fail doing that, I'm still happy. But in my mind, I can only succeed. So I'd like to look back and be like, I got to the highest of heights. I fought everywhere I wanted to fight. I ticked every bucket list. I left every stone unturned. And I retired happy with my health and my family. That'd be the dream.
Good. Yep, that sounds good. Right, just the last question is, what's next? What do we look out for?
Next.
Next, do we know?
You're lucky because the fight's just been announced. Otherwise, I'd have to lie to you, and I don't like lying to you. Next, Germany, Munich, May 17th. I'm fighting a Chechnyan guy who's from Germany, Lom-Ali. He's number 3 ranked in the division. I'm number 10th in the division. I know, I'm number 10. I should be number 1, shouldn't I? I know. In my opinion, this is the 2 best guys on the roster. The champions ran down to the weight class below, so it's only me and him. This is to see who's number 1 contender. If you want tickets, message me on Instagram, Shem Show Shop, and I'll sort you your tickets.
Perfect. Good salesman. I was going to say, if anyone wants to follow you, is that the best way to do it?
My personal page, Shem Rock BJJ. On TikTok, Shem Rock MMA. On Twitter, Shem Rock BJJ. Get at me. Show me some love. Show me some hate. I don't really care.
Right, that's great. And I really appreciate you coming along. Thank you very much. It's been a very interesting chat. Thank you. And thank you for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time on the Football Historian Podcast.
Next episode, Emile Heskey. Tune in.
Please.
Locking eyes from across the room, heart is pounding. What have I have to lose? This kind of feeling tends to blur your sight.